this is an iHeart podcast.
Tired of spills and stains on your sofa? Wash away your worries with Anabay. Anabay is the only machine-washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly prices. That's right, sofas start at just $699. Enjoy a no-risk experience with pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and changeable slip covers made with performance fabric. Experience cloud-like comfort with high-resilience foam that's hypoallergenic and never needs fluffing. The sturdy steel frame ensures longevity, and the modular pieces can be rearranged anytime. Shop WashableSofas.com for early Black Friday savings, up to 60% off site-wide, backed by a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not absolutely in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping or restocking fees. Every penny back. Upgrade now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change, and certain restrictions may apply.
You know what your customers are doing right this second? The exact same thing you are, listening to me. Which, let's be honest, is kind of flattering. But my point is, ads on iHeartRadio actually get heard. In the car, at the gym, on the couch, while people are walking their dogs. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? You're a good boy. That's right. You're a good boy. So why not make the next ad about you? Get started today. Call 844-844-iHeart or go to iHeartAdvertising.com. That's 844-844-iHeart or iHeartAdvertising.com.
The evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law to investigate any leads. If there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward, and we will continue to provide maximum transparency under the law.
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good Thursday morning. So nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update. And there's one big story. It is official. The Jeffrey Epstein documents, or the files, whatever you want to call them, are now going to be made public for everyone to see. The big problem now is many Democrats are concerned this could be the biggest political backfire in modern political history, including for Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Patriot Mobile. Every so often, something happens that reminds us just how fragile our freedoms are. We can't afford to take our rights for granted. We must draw a line in the sand. And our friends at Patriot Mobile have been doing just that for more than 12 years. The truth is, there is only one provider that boldly stands in the gap for Americans who believe freedom is worth fighting for. And that company is Patriot Mobile. Not only are they leading the red economy, they're also outpacing the competition in technology. Patriot Mobile is one of the only carriers offering premium access to all three major U.S. networks, giving you nationwide coverage and service that you can count on day after day. They also offer unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, internet backup, and so much more. And switching has never been easier. You can activate in minutes on your phone from your home or your office. And you keep your same number you've got now, keep your same phone, or upgrade to a new one. And this is where the magic happens. Every month, about 5% of your bill is given back to conservative causes at no extra cost to you that stand up for our First and our Second Amendment rights, the rights of unborn children, and our wounded warriors, and those that have fought for our country and wear a badge. So take a stand today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Ben47 or call 972-PATRIOT. And if you use the promo code Ben47, you're going to get a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Ben47 or 972-PATRIOT and make the switch today. It's the 47 Morning Update, and it starts right now.
Story number one.
It is official. The U.S. House of Representatives voted 427-1 to release the Epstein files, and then moved to the Senate, where they voted in favor of giving it to the President of the United States of America. And now, the President has signed it, releasing what documents we have that many have called the Epstein files. Really, they should be called the Epstein Papers. Now, this all goes back to when the Democrats decided to actually give a damn about Jeffrey Epstein. They didn't care about the victims, but what they did care about was trying to hurt President Donald Trump with the Epstein Files. Why? Because in July of this year, the U.S. Department of Justice and the FBI issued a memo stating that they found no credible evidence that Epstein had a so-called client list. Yes, there were a lot of names and there was a lot of paperwork, but there was no actual client list. And they also said there was no reason for an investigation against uncharged individuals that would be supported. And that is when Democrats decided to actually act like they cared about Jeffrey Epstein. Again, it wasn't to actually protect victims or get to the bottom of anything. It was to try to imply that Donald Trump was covering up to protect himself. We all know that is a lie, and it's official now because you can read it all. You fast forward to September of this year, and the push in Congress began to gain traction among Democrats. Via a discharge petition, the House to force a vote on releasing Epstein-related documents. Notice it wasn't a client list. Then in November, the House passed the bill, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, by a vote of 427 to 1. The very next day, November the 19th, the Senate passed the bill by unanimous consent, and they sent it to the president's desk. That is where we are now. President Donald Trump has signed the bill into law. Now, under the law, once signed by the president, the DOJ must release to Congress and publicly in a searchable, downloadable format the unclassified records, the communications, and investigative materials related to Jeffrey Epstein, and, to the extent possible, declassify and release classified materials within 30 days. Now, what President Trump and the White House have said publicly is this. Trump posted on his platform Truth Social upon signing, saying this: "I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files." He also claimed he had encouraged the House Speaker Mike Johnson and the Senate Majority Leader John Thune to move the bill, leading to the near unanimous vote. And the White House had also made it clear they expected the president to sign the bill, which he has done, even saying to reporters earlier in the day, quote, "This will be signed. The bill will be signed whenever it gets to the White House." There's also the question of victim protection. The White House and GOP leaders expressed major concerns about protecting victim identities and ongoing investigations. For instance, Speaker Johnson, while ultimately supporting the bill, said he had hoped for amendments to better protect the victims. Now, President Trump also made it clear about the politics behind all of this. He referred to prior criticism as a Democratic hoax, insisting that his administration has nothing to hide, and linked the matter politically, claiming, quote, "all of the friends of Epstein's were Democrats." Now, there's other important issues that you need to understand. There's a scope and limitations. Even though the bill mandates broad disclosure, it still allows for redactions or withholding of material that would identify victims, reveal ongoing investigations, or compromise national security or classified information. Now, the other question is this. Is this maybe one of the biggest political backfire in modern political history for the Democrats, who were demanding all of this? The answer seems to be yes at this moment. We also know that newly released campaign finance records are now showing that from 1990 to 2018, Jeffrey Epstein directed about 89% of his political donations to Democratic and progressive causes, with notable individual recipients including Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and Chuck Schumer. Now, this also should be, I believe, the number one fight for Republicans moving forward. We don't need to move on from this. Let me explain why. You literally had Democrats in bed politically with Jeffrey Epstein at every corner. For example, we had a Democratic member of Congress who was caught texting Jeffrey Epstein during hearings, and Republicans voted against censoring her. That is insane, and the Democrats should have learned from this mistake. This is a cycle, by the way, that keeps happening. It's a reason why Republicans keep losing elections. because when they have the opportunity to stand up to the radical left, many times they don't really do it. And until Republicans grow a backbone and demand more transparency from the Epstein files about what the Democrats are doing, nothing will change. And I say it again, this is why so many times Republicans keep losing. We don't fight. They've never demanded the release of all of Epstein files, even though every shred of evidence points directly, I believe, to mostly Democrats. You have massive Democratic names that were in bed with Jeffrey Epstein: Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, Stacey Plaskett, Bill Richardson, George Mitchell. Hakeem Jeffries was even asking Jeffrey Epstein for money after he was convicted of sexual crimes. Michael Wolff is another name. All of these names should be what Republicans should now be talking about. Which brings me to the two biggest names that we know about so far that clearly don't want you to know about what they were doing with Jeffrey Epstein. And that was Bill and Hillary Clinton. Now we know that there's a good chance that Bill and Hillary Clinton are literally risking prison time over Epstein's silence. How do we know that? It's coming from the House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer. And Comer said that former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton could face criminal exposure related to newly surfaced Jeffrey Epstein documents. Saying this, "We expect to hear from Bill and Hillary Clinton," Comer said. "Donald Trump answered questions for years about Jeffrey Epstein. Every day, he gets asked questions about Epstein, and he answers them in front of the American people. We've subpoenaed Republicans and Democrats." Comer's comments underscore how the looming release of these records related to Epstein, the disgraced financier who died by suicide in jail awaiting sex trafficking charges, is becoming a flashpoint in national politics, with the Democratic Party now bracing for real fallout. Many in the Democratic Party didn't believe that these documents would ever be made public, and that's why they weaponized them to try to hurt Donald Trump. Now, although there's no direct evidence that the Clintons committed any crimes at this point, suggestions of possible legal exposure inject new tension into an already charged debate over transparency and accountability and the political weaponization of the Epstein files. The Justice Department said on Friday that it is now examining Epstein's purported connections to high-profile Democrats, among them the former President of the United States of America, Bill Clinton, who has repeatedly insisted that he was unaware of Epstein's criminal conduct. Now, as part of the investigation, James Comer issued the subpoenas to the Clintons and 8 other individuals that followed the release by Congress last week of more than 20,000 pages of documents connected to Epstein. And now we have a whole lot more. Now, that batch of newly released correspondence included messages involving Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. And the question now is, what will be done with this moving forward? We also know that no survivor or associate has ever accused Clinton of misconduct tied to Epstein, though Trump has for years suggested Clinton's travel on Epstein's jets was suspect. The Clinton Foundation has dismissed the renewed attention, saying the emails that have been released prove that Bill Clinton did nothing and knew nothing, and argue the controversy is being used as a political distraction. But here's what we do know. Flight records tell a little bit different story. The flight records disclosed in earlier civil litigation show that Clinton took several trips on Epstein's plane in 2002 and 2003, traveling with staff to destinations across Africa, Asia, and Europe. James Comer argued that while some Democrats have formally stated they had no knowledge of Epstein, the Clintons have never responded to congressional inquiries or taken questions from reporters or investigators about their ties to Jeffrey Epstein. We also know that other Democrats have sent letters saying they knew nothing about Epstein, which would hold in court if something ever comes out that they did know something, Comer said. And he said this, and then they've committed perjury here. But the Clintons have never responded. They're the one group in this investigation that's never had to answer questions in front of a credible reporter. And they've never certainly answered questions from attorneys or members of Congress. So we expect the Clintons to come in, or I expect the Clintons to be met with the same fate that Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro were met with when the Democrats were in control. House Democrats sought criminal charges, you may remember, against Steve Bannon and former Trump White House strategist after he refused to appear before the House committee investigating the January 6 attacks on the U.S. Capitol. A federal jury ultimately found him guilty of 2 counts of contempt of Congress and received a 4-month jail term in 2022. Navarro, a senior trade advisor during Trump's first administration, faced a similar outcome. He too given a 4-month federal prison sentence after being found guilty of defying a subpoena from Congress issued by the same January 6th investigation. So here we are. As James Comer said, the Democrats have Trump derangement syndrome. They're just hoping and praying that there's something in these documents, somewhere that they don't know where, but somewhere that would implicate Trump. In reality, now that the files are open, there's a very good chance that people like Bill and Hillary Clinton are going to be in a lot more trouble than they ever could have imagined.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson Podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.
Wishing the holidays could come early? If you own or manage your business, they can. With help from iHeartRadio. People are already shopping for their loved ones and hunting for deals wherever they can find them, including right here. They're listening to the radio. They're listening to podcasts. They could be listening to you. Don't wait for everyone else to kick off the holidays. Get your best season of the year up and running today. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com.
This is an iHeart podcast.